Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. So we are in one of the Social Innovation Summit breakouts. My name is Jeff Senne. I'm the responsible business leader here at PwC, and I'm joined by Alex Crispino, my colleague. And we're going to talk about purpose. This is a kind of a continuation of the discussion that we started yesterday on the main stage. I did a quick 7 to 10 minute talk around purpose, and we'll build off of that, starting and revisit a few of those concepts, and but build on them. The run of show for us today is I'll make maybe 10 minutes of remarks to kind of provide context and guide the discussion. And then we're going to get to a series of 3 slides that Alex and I'll present on pretty briefly, give you some fodder to start your conversations. Then we're going to push people into breakouts. You'll be pushed automatically into a group of 6 people to have a discussion, answering a question around purpose. And we'll come back. We'll ask several people to unmute themselves, share what they heard, what was interesting about it, some insights, then come back and we'll do the same thing, talk about kind of step 2 in this purpose journey, loop back, do it again, and then step 3, and then we'll close out. Should take us about 60 minutes. They're more or less. Any questions or comments? I've got the chat open so I can see that. I also, you can unmute yourselves if you want to speak up. It looks like it's a fairly tight group. It doesn't look like there's hundreds of us. So I think it's growing. It is growing. But if you have a comment, want to chat or interrupt me, that's fine. I want to make this as interactive as possible. So thanks to everybody for joining in what are really startling, strange times. Not only do we have the fact that we're doing this remotely because of COVID, we're living through maybe some seminal events around race in our country. And that are, as I said yesterday in my talk on purpose, that simultaneously anger and frustrate and sadden me. But I'm also really inspired by this group and delighted to be part of this community and have this opportunity to have a conversation with you all. So yesterday, there's a few slides here that I brought from my talk yesterday because I wanted to use them to provide some context. We hear a lot these days around corporate purpose statements, and I'm a huge proponent, and we work with our clients on a number of fronts around these. And I'm a big believer that corporations need to be thinking about the impacts that they make and the value that they drive in a much broader way than we have in the past, where it's simply about how many widgets did we get to so many people and how much money did we create. To think about this through other lenses, I mean, corporate purpose, but also social impact or ESG, corporate responsibility. There, any of those that have somehow infiltrated and SDGs somehow affected the business model, I consider to be in this space. One of the things that Alex and I are big believers in, and Alex helped craft this kind of concept for us, is that purpose-led organizations require purpose-led people. And that's really what we want to talk to you about, is that kind of that intersection between organizational purpose and individual purpose. Talked yesterday a little about what some of the business drivers for this are. Fulfilling work attracts the best people. Purpose supercharges human potential. And it can move from transactional to transformational. It can really change people's relationship with their work. And there's some great people out there talking about this. Vibo Calandro, I've worked with many times. Aaron Hurst and Imperative are certainly luminaries in the space if you want to get more information. But really, if you go on Google and type, purpose videos, you're going to get dozens of them. many of them on YouTube or TED Talks that I think are worth looking at and starting to reflect on your individual purpose. One of the things that we talked about yesterday briefly, we touched on, and I think this is it's worth coming back to, is this: it's not really about where you work. A lot of people, there's a lot of misconception that there is a certain purpose job. Aaron Hurst, those of you who've heard him talks a lot about hospital orderlies. And this is one of the dirtier, kind of grittier jobs within the hospital, and yet has some of the highest engagement, highest fulfillment rates in the healthcare profession. And you would think it would be the doctors who are more well paid and perhaps have greater standing and authority within that healthcare system. But some of the most fulfilled people are these orderlies. And when they kind of unpack that and started to understand that, it makes total sense, because they have the greatest human connection, the most intimate, the most personal connection to the patients, whereas doctors oftentimes are spread really thinly and trying to run from one thing to the next and solve one problem after another problem, whereas orderlies really can take the time to have very personal connections. And you see that also on the patient side. When they leave a hospital, many of them will stay in touch with their orderly or their nurses, or the people who most profoundly impacted their experience. We talked about, and I think this is super important, that missions can change, but purpose oftentimes doesn't. And throughout our lives, we'll have many missions. But if we can find that kernel that connects them, I think it can be quite impactful. This systematic, methodical approach to purpose, I think, is really important. And I'm not trying to say there's only one, but having some kind of rhythm to it and some focus on it, I think is really important. I mean, there's great studies out there that show that just putting on a piece of paper whatever you seek to achieve and, you know, posting it on your wall and reading every day can multiply your ability to meet that goal. Simply about focus and deciding a course of action and sticking to it. I think purpose is much the same. It's about having that North Star, reminding yourself of that North Star. And many people in this space will often quote Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survival, who talks about, you know, humankind can withstand, you know, live through any what as long as they have a why. And I don't think you need to go as nearly as extremely as, you know, looking at Holocaust survivors to understand that and find value from that approach. One of the things that we want to touch on today is around creating cultures, because I think many of the people on the phone will be thinking about purpose, not only personally, but within their organization. And hopefully some of you are leading or will volunteer to lead this kind of culture, identity, purpose work within the organization, or at least support it. And this is in some ways that I think particularly important to today's discourse around identity, race, belonging, community. One of the things that we're sadly seeing is that many of our Black colleagues and other racial minorities within the United States are discriminated against, and they might be microaggressions, they might be systemic inequalities. There's all sorts of reasons or ways, pardon me, in which society writ large and organizations can inhibit their progress and make them feel that they need to code switch, that they need to be a different person in different contexts. And I think having purpose as an organizational identity or calling card can help level that playing field, that people can feel freer to start to express themselves. And it creates kind of a purpose, can be a business card that we can start to exchange with each other. And we're doing an interesting project that we call My Story, Your Story, which is essentially a tool to do just that. And Alex is leading that effort and can mention it during her remarks. It requires a personal path to purpose, that is introspection and communication of what that looks like. And then it requires the ability to curate both personally and professionally, experiences that reinforce that. So that's kind of context setting. But I think it's really important when we think about purpose to make it simpler, to make it less complex, to make it real and authentic to both yourself and the organization. I think this is really important. Those of you who are interested in corporate cultures, I recommend looking at the competing values framework out of the University of Michigan. This is some thinking from many years ago, but I think it's an interesting exercise to look at an organization as if it were a person. And if your organization were a person, what would that person look like? What would they be? You know, is it a middle-aged white man like myself, or is it somebody more hip than I certainly am, or you know, ethnically more diverse, or what have you? And thinking about it in terms of a person, are they competitive? Are they collaborative? Are they highly technical? Companies have a personality, and understanding that personality and how to work within it, but also how to mold it into the personality that we want it to be collectively, I think it is a super important step. We have three things that when we talk about purpose, we think are critical. Make it simple so that it's easy, fast, repeatable. Authentic, as I just mentioned. You can't introduce, I think, a concept or language into an organizational setting that just doesn't jive. I think you have to kind of serve, and many of us in these change agent roles serve as kind of chief translation officer, where we're trying to connect a concept into an organizational reality through these kind of translation services and make it actionable. I think critically, purpose can't just be an idea, it has to be a set of actions. And so we're going to talk about kind of our 1, 2, 3 approach and the steps that we've taken and found great value. And then we're going to jump in on some breakout questions. But I'm going to hand it over to Alex to take us through this slide.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. So obviously, this is step 1, discover your purpose. And what Jeff said really is what is at the heart of what we're doing. We want to make this simple. Purpose can feel nebulous, it can feel heavy. People, I think, sometimes feel like their purpose can't evolve. So we want to give people different ways to really discover their purpose. So we've had, as you can see on the slide, a few different examples, one being the imperative purpose assessment that gives people a really quick way to go through and gives them then a purpose statement at the end of it that they can mold and make their own. So that's just one way. We've also curated various different types of content to help people understand what purpose is, where to derive it from, even different language around it. The word purpose could be very easily synonymous with, you know, what's your why? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? So we've done things like curated articles around purpose, different videos and reflection exercises. Jeff mentioned TED Talks. We have a few of those. Simon Sinek's What's Your Why is a really good one to get people thinking about it. And even within that video, he gives a framework that then people can explore. At the heart of what's on this slide is really multiple avenues for our people to take. We understand that one size doesn't fit all at PwC. We certainly have, you know, a relationship with imperative, and we want people to take the assessment, and we understand that might not be their journey. So there's different options here so that they can have their own kind of personalized experience, because as we've said, purpose is personal. And the name of that TED Talk, Simon Sinek, What's Your Why, I believe it's called. If you type Simon Sinek and why, the TED Talk, I believe, will come up. But I can find that for you when we go to breakouts for sure. Jeff, anything to add there?
No, that's great. Yeah, that's great. So what we'd like to do is give you all 10 minutes. We're going to push you into breakouts with about 6 people total, and want you all to discuss this question about ways in which you are personally or your organization are working to define and promote purpose. And you may know your purpose and offer that to the group. You may not know that, maybe, you know, just starting that journey, but start to have a conversation about it. We certainly don't want this just to be a talking heads experience, this breakout. So we're going to push you in. We'll give you about 10 minutes and then we'll pull you back. All right, Janelle, we can push in. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Jeff, sorry. They are moving into them right now.
I see it. I see it. Great. Yeah, I see it happening in real time. Thank you.
Yep, and you are co-host right now, so you will be pushed into a breakout room. If you'd like, you can move throughout those breakout rooms as well as Alex.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
How will we know we're in our breakout rooms? Will it be obvious, Janelle?
You should have a pop-up that popped up on your screen.
Oh, I see it. Yep.
Yep.
Breakout join. Got
Those of you who are still in this main room, if you just want to treat this as your own breakout room, you feel free to unmute and discuss as directed. We'll just leave you guys here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Laura. Is anybody else going to unmute themselves?
We've got quite a few in here. Melissa, Michael.
Testing, testing, testing. Can you hear me?
Yes, you might need to turn your volume up just a little bit though. It's a little faint.
Okay.
Same thing with Allison, Calvin, Deborah, Diana. You guys all have the ability to unmute yourselves and you guys can have that discussion here.
Thank you. Yes, I was in breakout room 16, but no one had unmuted, so we couldn't have a conversation. So thank you for setting this up. We appreciate that.
You're welcome. Sorry
Is
about
anybody
that.
else besides Mike and I going to unmute?
Yes, everybody else is multitasking. Did my sound go up any?
Just slightly.
Okay, how's that?
That's a little better.
Okay, I'm good now. Okay, Laura, tell me about yourself.
Well, I feel like my purpose is really to make, to help people and organizations achieve their dreams. Right now, I'm the executive director of a very small nonprofit organization that provides college scholarships to Latinx youth. How about you?
Well, my purpose is to change the world by touching one person at a time. And I'm a corporate trainer with Change Healthcare. We have about 15,000 team members, and I travel around the country conducting leadership and personal development workshops. And so it's just become a passion of mine to help people improve their life skills through the workshops that I facilitate. And that's my purpose, change the world by touching one person at a time.
That's great.
I'm located in Dallas, Texas.
Okay, I'm in the Los Angeles area.
You are? Okay. Now, are you from Los Angeles originally?
No, I'm originally from the Midwest. I grew up in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I grew
How
up.
about you? Are you from the Dallas area?
No, I was born in Philadelphia and spent my junior high and high school years in Virginia. Then I attended a university in Texas, and that's how my Texas roots began.
Excellent. All right, everyone. Veronica, Selena, Allison, Jimmy, Deborah, Samantha, Kayon, Lucy, Tarek, Stephanie, Kathy, Kelvin, Melissa, Michael. Are you guys gonna join in?
No?
Diana?
Here comes Anna.
Yeah, people keep saying, I see people keeping connecting to audio, but then no one actually connects.
Wow, Aaron has a cool house. I like that. So how many scholarships do you all issue a year?
We support our college scholars from freshman year of college all the way through graduation. And we give just about, as I said, it's a small organization, so we give just about 20 to 25 per year. And so our cohort of scholars receiving scholarships is between 90 and 100, 80 and 100 kids at any given time. We get all of our scholarship recipients from the local area high schools. They all go to different colleges and universities, but I think the primary thing that we provide to them is really access to additional resources. The money is not the main thing that we provide a little bit of money, but then a lot of support along the way. Most of our scholars are first generation college students.
Oh, okay. Do they create a support system for each other as they go through school, say for their particular year, and then after they graduate?
We try to help them create that support system with each other, and then also with the people that they're meeting on campus. I mean, campus now, compared to when I was in school, they have a lot more resources for first generation students,
Right.
which I think is, absolutely fantastic. Some of my friends back in college, back in the day, were first gen students, and they had very little support.
Right, right. Yeah, they just had the friends that they hung around with. Yeah.
So how about the training you do? What's the most popular, or I guess the most popular training that you do?
Well, we have 3 classes right now that are really popular. Crucial Conversations, that's offered by Vital Smarts. We do that quite a bit. And then also Mastering Emotional Intelligence.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, yeah. Along with Kim Blanchard's Situational Leadership.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm back. I hope you had a good conversation between the few of you. Everybody else is coming back into this main room now, just so that you are aware.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Laura, one thing about the training, since we've been sheltering in place, I've had an opportunity to do a lot of virtual facilitation. So I get to stay at home some.
Great. Well, with Meta, I've been working at home for the 4 years I've been with them. So this working at home is actually nothing new for me.
Yeah.
But I think, Mike, it's been lovely to speak with you. I hope that the rest of the few folks who are in our session listened carefully and maybe learned a little something, but it looks like we're going back to the main session, so I will.
Okay, so have a good one.
So we are back. Hi, everyone. Can you see my screen again? Great.
Yes.
Thank you, Laura. I saw you nod. What I'd like to do first is do a quick debrief on the discussions. Does anybody want to unmute themselves and offer a few reflections on what they heard from what they offered themselves or what they heard from others?
Sure. We had a wonderful group. We're all hopefully now connected on LinkedIn, but we were really talking about, in terms of finding your purpose, about leadership. And being a leader doesn't necessarily mean that it has to come from the top, but leadership can come from anywhere, right? And having those difficult conversations across your organization, or uncomfortable conversations, or any sort of conversation that is made to push things forward, made to improve change, made to improve the quality of life for those in the organization, and at the end of the day, outside of it as well. Oh yeah. So yeah, it was really nice. We got to talk a little bit about that. We had a great diverse group, and I wish those sessions were a little bit longer, to be honest. Feedback for the summit team, so that we could have more of those discussions. I think we were just getting into the throw of things, and then we were brought back to the room.
Well, we're going to deliver exactly what you want then, Allison, because we're going to push you back in to that. So you can continue the conversation. So we're going to do 3 of these. So that's fabulous. Any other comments, thoughts? Anybody want to share?
Sorry.
Miriam?
Sorry. Yes, I'd love to share. So what I found really interesting is I was in a group. So I'm part of a tech nonprofit called the Rumi Initiative, and I was in a group with 3 leaders who are more on the nonprofit side, and it was really interesting to talk about our purpose and see the overlap and kind of discuss ways our platform could help them with their purpose and vice versa, and kind of like really see the alignment of the purpose and see like the overlap. I thought that was really interesting because there was this combined purpose to deliver empowerment. There was a heavy focus on women empowerment. And so it was really interesting to talk about how we could help each other. I thought that was really great.
That's fabulous. Yeah, I think one of the things that we talked about a little bit was this, the purpose space tends to be organizationally centric. It tends to be, this is what this organization is meant to do. And one of the things that I encourage people to think about is flipping that and making it people-centric, at least for some portion of it. So talk about organizational purpose, but then start with, what's your purpose, Miriam? What's yours, Laura? What's yours, Allison? And the reason I think that's important is too often we try to kind of pigeonhole people into our organizational purpose kind of mantra, rather than saying, hey, what's yours and how does it connect? And a good example of this for me is Elon Musk. You can like him, you can not like him. But yesterday I talked a little bit, he's got this, you know, he says his purpose statement is to try. And that's interesting because if you look, SpaceX, Tesla, Boring Company, flamethrowers, like he's all over the place. And it's essentially, Branson is this kind of, Richard Branson is this way as well a little bit, like they're serial entrepreneurs and risk takers. They just want to always be trying something new, learning from mistakes and learning and keeping moving. But they could work on one problem today and another problem tomorrow. So it's less mission focused and more this kind of internal experience brought into the workplace. And I think that's one thing that can help companies and organizations of all sorts, is to start to flip it and make it a little more centric on people. Well, we're gonna shift gears, go to the next conversation, which we're gonna push you guys in, which is, how do you live this purpose? So you've got this purpose now, you're starting discussions around what is purpose organizationally and individually. How do you create pathways to experience it? And Alex, if you're out there, if you want to walk us through just some of the ideas that we've explored.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Jeff. So again, it's about you and customizing your purpose activation path. What we've been trying to do at PwC is helping folks realize, A, what their purpose is, but then how do you activate that at the firm? And certainly there's ways to do that in the role you have at the firm, but there's also other ways outside of that one role. Many of us don't just do the one thing we've come to PwC to do. So a few things here: give back in different ways via our responsible business leadership program. So there's ways to give back monetarily and contribute, but there's also ways to volunteer. And many organizations that we support, obviously virtually now, but still a way to give back and activate that purpose. Inclusion networks, definitely another way that I've seen folks give back and really lead from a space that is authentic to them and ignites and lights their purpose up. Bringing new ideas to, how you learn, what you learn, creating those intentional experiences for your team. At PwC, there are some very specific ways that's being done kind of in the wellness space or well-being space, but also, in ways we upskill and how we bring different digital technologies potentially to teams. And again, going back to making it your own. Helping our people realize there are resources here at the firm that can help you act on that purpose versus telling them you have to act on your purpose in these ways, and being more open to it. And this last bullet I think is just really important. It's beyond work. It's beyond what you do, your job at PwC or any organization, but how do you do that in different domains? And these are some of the words we use around domains. But doing that in any domain brings that fulfillment, which then makes you, more productive, happier, all those things that are based in research. Jeff, anything else?
No, that's great. But I wanna respect Allison's point about having a little bit longer time for discussion. So what I'm gonna suggest is that we go to the next slide too, and we'll talk briefly about that and then push you guys in for the remainder or most of the remainder of the time to have the discussions because they were so rich. I think the last step in this kind of 1, 2, 3 is ways to share your purpose story, because I think purpose should be this kind of flag. It should be this kind of calling card or business card, as I've said. Like, we need to get comfortable and develop. And I don't know how many of you have taken some of these kind of Myers-Briggs, or there's HBDI, HD. I always get it wrong. Alex, you'll know it.
You had it right. HBDI, the first one. You had it right.
HBDI. But some people will then introduce themselves, or they'll say, I'm an orange, or I'm an orange blue, or I'm a, you know what I mean? And they use it as an organizational construct to get to know each other and compare experiences and understand each other. And I think this gets to this kind of belonging inclusion is when we start to talk to each other about our purposes and use that as a bridge to start to empathize and understand the other person at a deeper level. So I'd like you all to think about this question as well. How do you live it? But then also, how do you talk about it? And use it as this connection or as this bridge. So Janelle, why don't we push out until 12:55, and then we'll come back to a quick readout briefing, and we'll wrap.
All right, sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and push open the breakout rooms. This time, y'all should just flow right into them. You don't have to accept anything. I made it a little easier for you. All right, here you go. Aha. That went much smoother. Who hasn't joined and why? Anja and Anzala, I'm sorry if I am mispronouncing your names. Is it giving you a pop prompt to be able to join the other breakout rooms?
No, I was just trying to get in again after the breakout, so I'll just wait till the.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to go?
Starts.
I can go ahead and throw you into a breakout room.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. No, it's for me. It's okay to wait till we start together.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And then Jenny, did you want to get assigned to a breakout room? Jenny, you're on mute. You can unmute yourself in the bottom left corner there.
Oh, yeah, sorry. You can assign me anywhere. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I thought I had tried to assign you. Apologies for the background noise. I thought I had tried to assign you somewhere, but maybe there's some issues going on. So give me just a second and I'll try and throw you into another room. Did you get a prompt or anything, Jenny?
No,
That's really weird. What type of device are you on?
it's an iMac.
Oh, that might be why. Are you joined? Do you have the Zoom application downloaded and updated
I
on
do.
that iPad?
That's why it took me a while to join. Yes.
Okay.
I just have to listen in, so it doesn't matter where you put me.
Sure. The problem is it's not pushing you. I've tried to push you into a couple different rooms. So I think there's something with that iPad that's just.
And join again.
If you want to try, yeah, that you're more than welcome to. It sounds like they're going to be in the breakout rooms for the remainder of the hour. So about 10, 15 more minutes. So if you want to rejoin real quick, and then I can try and push you into a breakout room again, that'd be fine.
Oh, now it's giving me the option to join breakout room 5. I'll try this.
Oh, perfect. Okay, go for it. And then Deanna, I saw that you just joined. Do you want me to go ahead and put you into a breakout room as well?
Yes, please.
Sure thing. I'll throw you in here. Breakout room 6. Same thing with Sam. Would you like me to throw you into a breakout room as well?
Yes, I was in one, but then I got kicked out.
Oh dear. Okay, well, I'm going to throw you into breakout room 10. So hopefully you won't have that issue again, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. There we go.
Did I understand well that they are not coming back to this general room, because then I can go to another webinar. I was mixed with another one, so.
Yeah, they will be coming back probably 5 minutes till the end to share discussions. So that's
Okay.
entirely up to you.
Okay, then I will be back in 10 minutes, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, then you stop barking, sir. Hi, Joanne. I'm going to throw you into one of the new breakout rooms, okay? Oh, it looks like you're
Oh, I'm on mute. Yeah, I
There
was
you
just
go.
gonna say I've been coming in and out. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'll go ahead and send you to one now.
Okay.
Hi, Max. Are you able to hear me okay? Oh, and he's gone. Hi, Melanie. Or I'm probably saying that wrong. Everybody's in breakout rooms right now, but we are closing those up in just about a minute. So if you want to just stick around, they'll be coming back for the full discussion.
Sustainability.
And I think we're all coming back. Give it just another 10 seconds and I think we'll all be back. It looks like our room has even over the course of our hour together has gotten bigger. Does anybody want to share either what they shared or what they heard shared? Any volunteers out there?
Well, I'll volunteer. The last group that we were in, I'm gonna say the big takeaway was how important the inspiration is to inspire others to seek their purpose and live their purpose and try and make a difference.
I think that's quite right, quite right. Any others that want to build on that or add another reflection?
I'll jump in. This is Catherine Lewis. Hi, everybody. Our group had a couple points that I found really interesting. One, that something that really I was thinking about a lot is that purpose personally evolves over time, and that it doesn't always have the same flavor and nuance, and that as we get older or grow into our careers, there's different ways that we define it, and it's okay to move in that direction based on what you have in front of you and what you're feeling in the moment, particularly as we live through some really strange times. And I think another thought that I loved was kind of the holistic connection of purpose. So not just what you do for work or what you do personally in volunteering time, but bringing that into your family and kind of expressing it in ways that you really can share that with the people that you love in your life, and how that can bring greater meaning.
I think that's so important, Catherine. If it truly is your purpose and you're only able to live it in one portion of your life, that sounds one-dimensional to me. That sounds suboptimal, maybe is the right way to say it. My hope is that more and more of us will find a way to live our purpose at home and in the community and with ourselves, our relationship with ourselves and with others and in the workplace. I think you're exactly right. Too many people, and I think it's fine to have a job that you need to make money. We all need to make money. And I talk about this to students a lot, like college students a lot. And they're especially focused on, I got college debt, like what's next, and I get that. But hopefully people, and I'm seeing this more and more, and it's skewing younger and younger every year, that people want that job, but also want that fulfillment. And I don't think that's too much to ask for any of us. And my hope is that we're all able to find that. And it starts with defining your purpose, living your purpose, and communicating, understanding yourself and being able to communicate that. And hopefully more of our organizations are going to create spaces that are open to that conversation, and that people feel more comfortable. Any other last thoughts before I close this out?
It was a great experience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad. Well, it's very much a journey.
Thanks so much.
And as I closed yesterday, this idea that, Joseph Campbell said, a hero is somebody who's given his or her life to something bigger than themselves. And my hope is that you all are, part of this community. It's clear that you're doing that, but that you're also the hero of your story, and that you share that story and you share it through living your purpose and talking about that. So thanks so much for joining. And it was great to interact with you all today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event. Be well.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye
all.
all.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Rachel.
This was a good session. Thank you.